Steve Gamache here with another Chef Knives to Go quick look product video. This time we're looking at the Moritaka Aogami Super Supreme Series Gyuto 240mm knife. This line of knives from Chef Knives to Go has a core steel of Aogami Blue Paper Super carbon steel. The heat treat rating on this is about 64 to 65 Rockwell, which is at the higher end of the hardness range for this steel. So this steel has great edge taking and edge retention characteristics, and it's still quite easy to sharpen on the stone. So it's a great core steel. The construction is an iron reactive cladding with a kudauchi, or what we call KU finish, a blacksmith finish on top of that core steel. And Moritaka has what I consider one of the nicest KU finishes of the knives that Mark carries. It's a good combination of being fairly slick with a little bit of texture to it. So it's a good balance between friction and food release. It's just a nice KU finish. The Moritaka knives have a stainless steel tang welded to the main blade that goes into the handle for longevity and the handle life. And it's really hard to see with the Moritakas, but they do have a cladding line. It's hard to see even with the naked eye, so it's just tough to pick up the cladding core line, but it is there. I've used this knife a little bit, so it might have a little bit of wear. They've got a protective finish right on the edge that will kind of wear a little bit as you use it, and I might be getting just a little bit of patina on there after some ingredient processing. The knife itself is about 6.1 ounces or 173 grams. The blade length is 238, so just right around 240. And the overall length is about 15.15 inches. These are going to vary dimensionally a little bit from knife to knife since they're all handmade. The thickness of the spine right out above the chin heel area here is about 3.5 millimeters. And then that tapers down as you get down the blade, and pretty much a continuous tapers. These are nicely tapered blades down towards the tip until you hit the grind, and boom, it tapers down to a point, of course. The heel chin area to the spine distance or height of the blade is 47.5 millimeters up here. And the handle type is an octagonal U-wood buffalo horn ferrule. You do have a little bit of a height difference between the wood. The wood's slightly taller than the ferrule, but it's very minor. If you wanted to sand it down, you could. It doesn't really impact the performance of the feel, in my opinion, at all, but it is there. But the handle itself is a very good, nice feeling handle with a nice warm color to it. The fit and finish on the blade is very, very good. The circumference on the handle is a little bit above the standard kind of 3-inch that I see a lot of knives. Circumference right at the handle ferrule junction, and it fits this blade nicely. You've still got good clearance on the blade, and you've got a fairly decent blade height to it, so in my opinion it had plenty of blade clearance or knuckle clearance on the board. And the knife has really nice grinds to it. These have real nice, all of them have had, that I've looked at, have had real nice grinds to them, and they're quite thin at the edge, as you can see, for good performance. The profile on the 240, it's got a lot of flat spot at the heel. It's very flat. It kind of stops on the cutting board. So if that's a knife characteristic you like, so it's got pretty much a dead flat section towards the back and then a gentle curve overall, flat profile. The balance point on the knife is a little bit in front of a pinch grip, so it's right about there. The handles on these are fairly light, so the pinch grip is just slightly behind that. So you get a little bit of a weight forward bias to the balance, which helps for cutting power. The tip goes quite nicely through ingredients. It's not super skinny. It's not quite as thin as, let's say, the 210 version of the knife, but it is a little bit bigger knife. But the performance has really good all-around characteristics of going through product, doesn't wedge too much, and has fairly decent non-stick properties, so it's just a good all-around balance of characteristics of the blade. A new feature we're trying out here. By the way, the edge sharpness out of the box was, I'll give it a 5 out of 10. It was pretty sharp, but it didn't have much bite or tooth to the edge. So I took it very briefly to a Shapton Pro 1.5K stone. I'm talking just 3-4 minutes, maybe 3 minutes if that, and some horse butt leather strop, and just came out real nice, sharpened it up a little bit. And this will take a lot more refined edge than that, but it was a quick, nice toothy edge, and it performed very, very nicely. So here's a new feature I'm trying out here. Here's a cutting board edge for you. So on this one, if you're using the board, you do feel it stop at the heel. So there's not a continuation. There's not a little bit of relief at the heel. So this pretty much stops at the heel, and then you've got your belly to the knife towards the tip. So you can hear it and you can feel it on the board stop. But a lot of people love that characteristic. So it's not a continuous curve like some knives are. And this can vary a little bit by knife. Each one of these knives I've had has slightly different personalities to them. So you can get fairly high in ingredients here. And it does rock pretty nice. But again, you've got that kind of flat spot. If you like a nice flat spot towards the heel, this 240 sure had it. So in my opinion, this is a great all-around knife. Good performer, nice and light. Has a lot of really nice characteristics to it. So there you have the Moritaka AS Gyuto 240mm knife.